Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at this model of a General Motors New Look bus. I noticed that on YouTube there's kind of a lack of videos showcasing diecast vehicles that are around O scale and really giving them an in-depth review. So I thought I would sort of add to this very obscure segment of YouTube reviews by taking a look at this model. This is a model of a General Motors Corporation New Look transit bus, also known as a fishbowl bus. I'll talk more about the bus in a minute. But I ordered this off of Amazon because I had a gift card. I normally avoid going on Amazon. I don't really have many reasons to shop on there. But I felt like I needed a model of one of these buses, as I think they're really quite striking looking. And I didn't have a nice O-scale version of it, or close to O-scale version of it. So I found this for $35, which all things considered isn't that bad. I mean, I usually wouldn't spend that much on a diecast model, but in the end I decided, hey, it's not my money because it's a gift card, so I dropped $35 on this model. Which, already looking at it, I think that was probably worth it, because it seems to be a pretty well put together model, and it definitely looks good. In terms of the packaging, it really is very simple. There's no logos or branding or anything. I looked on Amazon to see who manufactured this, and it said that the manufacturer was OPO 10, OPO 10. I don't know. I've never heard of this manufacturer. They're probably some obscure producer of this sort of thing. But I looked, they have a couple other models. They just make very general, random types of models. So I haven't really bought from a manufacturer like that before, so we're going to see what we get. What's interesting is there's some, I think, French on the box, which is very interesting. Maybe the manufacturer is French. It was made in Bangladesh, but there's a lot of French wording on there. There's a little bit of Spanish too, but I thought that might be interesting. As I think that France has a lot of diecast model manufacturers in it, or at least diecast distributors. Just cut open the back a little bit here. All right. Let's get this packaging out of here. So on first impression, I don't really think this is a diecast model. It might be plastic. I'm not quite sure. Let me test. Oops. Damn it. I'm not sure, but if it is diecast, it's very thin diecast. Actually, the way it's bending, it might be plastic. I'm not entirely sure. But as soon as I picked it up, the right or the left hand mirror came off. Doesn't look broken, it just looks like the glue came apart. That's a shame. Let me fix that real quick. Well, I think that's a good enough repair. I just used some super glue to put that back on, but it's funny that as soon as I took it out of the box, a piece fell off. But I think that's forgivable because this is a model, it's not a toy. It's not meant to be pushed around and banged up and used. It's meant to sit on a shelf, or in my case, a train layout. And, well, even though I had to do that, it looks pretty good. The color is very nice, the paint looks great, the printing is excellent. I don't see any defects on it. There's really no overspray or anything. All the chrome looks really nice. The little details like the license plates are really well done. There's a little bit of paint cracking there, just the tiniest bit. It's visible only in person, but I think it looks fine. The headlight and sort of front logo assembly look really good. I like the turn signals. The mirrors are a nice detail, although this guy decided to come off. The destination sign up here is nice. It's crisp and well printed. And I like the fluing on the side. I think that's a really nice touch that they achieved pretty successfully. There's a little scuff up here, but that's not really a big deal. It's very shiny and it looks nice. It looks like a freshly cleaned bus. The rear light assembly looks nice. These turn signals under here are a little bit worn, at least on the tips as far as I can tell. I don't think they're supposed to be like that. We have license plate. Warning, do not pass on right. Yes. Very good thing to not do with a bus. You don't want to run over anyone. But on this side, things are very much the same, except you got two doors here, a front door and a rear door. And these are nice, they look fine, but you can't open them, which I think it's fine if you're putting this on a shelf. But even though it's not a toy, you still want the ability to do that if you're going to put it on a train layout, because it's fun to, you know, pose it by the side of the street and have one of the doors open so you can pick up or drop off a passenger. But looking closely, actually, I'm noticing a little bit of paint defect here. The spray isn't really complete. There's a few bits missing from it up here. But again, considering this is not an incredibly expensive model, it's only 34 bucks, it's fine. The wheels look fine. They just look nice. I don't think there's really that much else to say about them. The tires are sort of a rubbery plastic. They're a little less soft than some other tires I've seen. Of course, the back tires have, well, there's two tires on the back per wheel, and then there's one tire on the front, as is usual with these sorts of buses. And then you have this detail up here, which I can only assume that has something to do with air conditioning or something, but they nailed that. The windows look fantastic. I think the windows are always a very notable feature on this style of bus. They got it down. I think they look fantastic. I don't know exactly how they're put in there, but they feel a little flimsy, so I'd say be careful with them. And then at the front, you have the classic fishbowl styled windshield. That's why these are called fishbowls sometimes, because it bloats out a little bit. And also usually the glass is a little bit tinted on these buses because, well, I don't know, probably a sunlight thing. But the details here are very well done. The windshield wipers are nice. The interior detail is a little hard to see, but the driver's seat has a steering wheel and the dashboard's a different color. And then there's a stick shift in there. I don't think you can really see it, but it's a little black stick shift. And then there's some buttons and whatnot to the left of the driver's seat, no doubt to control the doors and air conditioning and stuff. Then you got the fare box in there. It's not painted or anything. It's the same turquoise as the rest of the inside. For the front, more than half of the bus, you have seating that's facing inward, which is pretty typical with buses. I think most transit buses have that. And then at the back, we have seating facing the front. And of course, like all early transit buses, this is a step up, so it's all on one high level, as opposed to modern buses that have a low level in the front so that people in wheelchairs and whatnot can get on and off easy. Overall, I love the look of this bus. I think the paint looks great. The agency I don't really care for. It's the Manhattan and Bronx Surface Transit Operating Authority, which doesn't have any significance to me because I'm a Chicago guy. I would have killed for even just a CTA version of this, but if they had a Chicago RTA paint scheme version of this, that would be stellar, because those are the buses that nowadays serve my locale. So seeing that would be cool, and I thought about painting this into that paint scheme, but I don't know, I think it looks fine the way it is, and as I've said, this is one of my favorite colors, a nice teal. It looks like disassembly of this vehicle wouldn't be too hard. You have to have your triangular screwdriver up here and back here, and as far as I can tell, that's it. And while we're down here, there's some nice underside detail. This isn't realistic, but the tailpipe, and I can only assume that's a muffler, and then some of the transmission certainly is realistic, and I think it looks pretty good. This doesn't seem like it'd be too hard to get some figurines in, and I definitely intend on doing that. Now let's talk about scale. This vehicle is a 1/43rd scale bus. And 1/43rd scale is not actually O scale. O scale is 1/47th, I believe. I'm going to show it next to some other vehicles that are of different scales. Here it is next to a true 147/55 Ford. And, well, they look fantastic together, but the scaling is just a little bit too small on the car's end, or I guess it's too big on the bus's end. Putting them next to each other, yeah. But I feel like they'll still look perfectly fine next to each other on a layout. Here it is next to a 1/37th Camaro. I feel like this scaling's a lot better. Again, the car is a little bit too big compared to the bus, but I feel like they still look great together. And this is sort of a pullback vehicle you can get at a drugstore for like $5. So I think that for O-scale, these are a pretty good way to get inexpensive cars. Not so much with buses, you're going to have to go a little bit pricier for that. Here it is next to a Porsche GT2 RX, just to give some modern car representation here. And yeah, I feel like it looks fine, even though you'd probably never see these guys on the road together. It still scales alright. And I guess most relevantly, here is it scaled next to a model that I find hard to describe because I don't actually know who makes these specifically. I've seen them made by a number of manufacturers. They're very close to a General Motors Old Look bus, but they just don't have a rear door. And I feel like these are probably the closest to true O-scale that you're going to get. They aren't very detailed, but they'll certainly pass, and they're very cheap. I keep finding these for around like $5 to $10. Added some figures and painted it up. And I feel like, yeah, this is definitely way too small compared to the new look. Let's look at length. Yeah. So these guys next to each other maybe wouldn't look so realistic, but this bus next to a bunch of cars definitely would. But overall, I feel like this is definitely a nice piece to have. I'm happy with it, and I figure I'll go take it over to the layout and show you how it looks on the street. Here it is over on the street with some better light, and yeah, it looks really good. It definitely scales with the cars pretty well, and overall, it very much dominates the scene. The only problem that I've encountered with this vehicle is it's a little too wide for this bus lane that I made, and I made this specifically to fit the smaller buses. And yeah, it overhangs a little bit, and eventually I want to put a concrete curb in between the general lanes and the bus lane to not give drivers any ideas. But seeing it next to my little bus shelter is fine, and it actually scales super well with this figure, who I think is maybe a little bit bigger than true O-scale, which I guess makes these perfect for each other. But all things considered, I think this is an excellent model, and I mean, for $35, it's kind of hard to go wrong. And, well, for any O-gauge model railroader that's looking for a nice classic bus to have on their layout, this is as good as you're going to get. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.